Yeah, I'm on a roll now. I've uploaded weekly twice. I've already beaten the streak from last time. But that's not important. We're here to talk about Epic Mickey again because the past 2 years have been doing a lot better than the other ones that I've made. We talk about the scrapped idea. Today we're going to talk about the scrapped ideas for Epic Mickey 1. From Mickey shooting paint from his body to the different designs, depending on his reliance on paint or thinner. We will explore tons of old versions of this game. Before we get into that, let me just take your attention to the subscribe button, as subbing really helps me out a ton and I appreciate it a lot. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider it. It's just a singular click for you. Now let's dive into Wasteland and see what could have been. Let's start small. Pretty far into Epic Mickey's development, there was a more integrated morality system. Having it so that Mickey uses paint more, he will slowly change to a version of himself called Hero Mickey, where he sports a better posture and golden gloves. But if Mickey kept using thinner, he would begin to transform into Scrapper Mickey, who is basically the polar opposite. He'd be hunched over, snarling all the time, having an angry expression on his face, and getting darker, less colourful clothes. But unfortunately, Disney's really protective of their little fat mouse, and didn't want this one change for him in the game. So now we're just stuck with like 1% of what would have been, having Mickey drip more ink if he uses thinner lots. But I just don't get why Disney did this, as it wasn't too bad in my opinion, and was much better than the first ideas where Mickey's ink is literally dripping off of him having fangs. But alas, we never got this. It's sad, but yeah. Now let's move on to something more big. The morality system wasn't so huge, but this is more relevant to the game. Originally, there was going to be a world dedicated towards Alice in Wonderland, but luckily, we actually have some concept art for a rough idea of what this would look like in game. And the piece that most people know about is Mickey in a checkerboard area with the cat washing over him. But I don't believe it's really known what would happen in this area, but I might be wrong. So if one of you's found it, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But honestly, this area looks like it would be pretty damn cool for the very few imagery of it. It seems to actually fit in with the other worlds in the game, especially Bog Easy. I don't know, it just reminds me of the area you start when you enter Bog Easy. Okay, now we're getting to some more juicy stuff. Now we get into an old plot. Well, at least a character in the plot. Oswald, we all know, is the sympathetic rival of Mickey in the game, where he hates you from the beginning and you slowly redeem him to be happy again. But originally, Oswald would have been a lot different. Instead of sort of being on your side, he would actually be a really big villain, as well as the plot. Which kind of resonates with my last video's idea of the Mad Doctor being a villain, where I said it shouldn't be a vengeful toon whose only friends are a piece of metal. But I'm not gonna lie, the Oswald being a villain idea just makes a lot more sense, as his little brother Mickey stole his fame and left him to be in Wasteland. He just seems to be more interesting as a villain, as opposed to the Mad Doctor, who was just some random angry toon that no one cares about, like, at all. But we're getting sidetracked. So Oswald would be in the shadows watching and eventually merge with the Blot to form a monster. And no, it is not called the Stormblot. The Stormblot is the huge blot from the first game, not the Oswald plot. And Mickey would have... Sorry, I just had to get that out of my system. But, like, Mickey would have had to save Oswald from destroying Wasteland. I'm not gonna lie, this sounds, dare I say, epic. But, now we get into the biggest thing about how Mickey would... Now we get into the biggest thing about the early development of this game. Mickey would be skinnier in game. He would not have a paintbrush, but he would use his own ink to act as the brush. He would also have some abilities that would later be devolved, as he was going to be able to surf around on his ink like a tidal wave. Also, he could also let out a huge burst of ink into an attack. But unfortunately, there's nothing really good to show for this old version. Surely there's like a 7-second video showing these abilities. And there's only a few concept art pictures with this design. But that's really it. But recently, something amazing happened. Someone found the original pitch trailer with all these things I've mentioned, and lines up with the small snippets that we've seen on YouTube. But how much of the video did we find? The entire thing. Yes, this is a huge find and magnificent to see the old version originally planned for the game. And now we get to see the trailer in full.
Well, Mickey Mouse, welcome to the cartoon wasteland. Finally, we can drain your precious ink. We forgotten cartoon characters need that ink far more than you do. I wish you had not fought so hard when you were dragged down here by the phantom blood. In your struggle with your old enemy, your ink mingled with his. You were transformed. You took on aspects of the block's nature. I predict you will suffer unfortunate side effects, Mickey, including, perhaps, impaired mobility. Possibly reduced creative faculties. And of course, general weakness and fatigue. Really, it will be a sad case. Now, Mickey, it is useless to struggle. Wait. Stop! No! Alert the blot! Warn Oswald! No!
We see here that Mickey has some more abilities than the two I said, including the ability to spawn items and make them real using ink, plus a wingsuit to fly around in, and also a trampoline to combo with the wingsuit. We also reinforce the idea of Oswald being a villain, is that at the end of when Mickey escapes from the machine, we hear the guy say, "Warn Oswald!" Meaning Oswald probably got this guy to capture Mickey and failed, because he's dumb. But honestly, this is a massive find, and it's just so fun to see what could have been. Honestly, it's making me wish we got this as a game, not to replace the original, because the original is a great game. But, like, they release a separate game with this sort of style, because honestly, I feel like that would fly right off the shelves. It just looks so interesting and cool to play, and mysterious, and great, and amazing, and great, and so great, I love it! To the end of the journey again. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. I'll see you all later. And I'm sorry if this video is a bit shorter. I need to upload weekly. Like, I need to. I'll explain that later, but I need to upload weekly. And just remember, if you ever meet a girl, say, "What's cooking? Good looking." Trust me, my friend tried it. He gets all the hoes. Bye.